Hi. What do you know about Monument Avenue?
There's a lot of monuments on it.
Okay.
Do you think that there are any moral problems with Monument Avenue?
Yes,
And why do you think that?
because Monument Avenue dwells in a time period that wasn't didn't present racial equality.
So I do and I don't. I think there is moral problems with it in the sense that it's representing a time period where a lot of people had discriminating viewpoints and the reasons why they're fighting for. I disagree. So in one way, I do think it's wrong that they have it, but I also think it's good that they're still there because it shows how we've evolved and in a time period where we need to look back on and realize that we've changed a lot, especially now during this time period.
Why there's a bunch of Confederate statues on it? I
Exactly.
know this is good. I was talking to my mom about this. I think that history is a good thing, and I think that recognizing history is a good thing. And for that reason, I don't see there being a moral problem with having monuments on Monument Avenue of Confederate statues.
Right now, I would say yes. I think when it was first created, it wasn't necessarily maybe thought of as like a moral issue because we are in the South, so people kind of definitely were on the side of the South, so they thought that those people were fine. I think it's a moral issue just for the principle of the whole idea of what the Confederacy stood for, not necessarily because like I wouldn't say anyone's necessarily really paying attention to Monument Avenue. So I think it's more just about the principle that makes it kind of a moral issue, and not because we all celebrate it every day.
Do you think there are any moral problems with Monument Avenue?
Yes.
Can you say what they are?
Well, obviously, there's Confederate general statues.
This question. Should the monuments on Monument Avenue be removed or replaced?
I feel like they shouldn't because I don't think they should be replaced because I think it really does represent how we've moved forward, and at least in my opinion, when I walk by them, I'm not thinking, wow, why do they have these here? Like, this is awful, blah, blah, blah. But I think it just shows that, like, this was a time period where people were very close-minded and had a certain viewpoint and only felt strongly about that viewpoint, and now we're living in a society where people can speak their mind no matter what race or gender or anything you are. So I think it just shows, it reminds me every time I walk by it that we've moved forward and that we're a different society than we were back then.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes.
Why?
Because I feel like it's inappropriate for them to be there, and it could bring up like emotional problems in some people.
I'm not sure. I think if there was a big like movement where people felt it was offending them, then maybe people could talk about what to do with it for other replacement. But I mean, it is still a part of our history, whether we like our history or not. And I feel like they kind of stand more for just history, not necessarily a celebration of the Confederacy, just now history for them.
Why do you think that some people believe there isn't a problem with Monument Avenue?
I feel like people just want to like brush off issues, and that might be why, and maybe like the historical value, but I think the cons outweigh the pros.
Some people probably don't believe there's a problem with Monument Avenue because they just don't understand what those figures represented in their time period. It's the same thing with, Jeb Stuart High School and Washington and Lee High School.
But do you think that those Confederate soldiers and leaders being depicted as heroes is offensive?
Yeah, I think it's offensive because of the people who live not just people who live here, but also like around the U.S. because the Confederate soldiers, the Confederacy was fighting for slavery and a lot of other stuff, and and so I think to a lot of people it kind of represents that like Richmond and Monument Avenue might like have the idea of supporting slavery, even though they might not, but in the eyes of some people it might seem that way.
Okay, last one.
Do you believe that there is a rough analogy between Monument Avenue here and, let's say, an avenue in Berlin celebrating Nazi Germany?
It's kind of hard to compare the Holocaust to slavery, let me think how I'm gonna say this. I do see the rough analogy between like a Monument Avenue in Germany, like glorifying Nazis, and the one here. Yeah, but I would say if there was education on who the people that the monuments represent and who they were, not only to white people, but who they are to minorities and people who were enslaved, that would be great.
Awesome. Thanks for your time.